So when you're ending a relationship, it's so hard because you really love the person. Like, it's deep love, it's real love, but it's also, you have such a jaded, it's almost like you can't even trust yourself. You're like, do I know how to judge people? Can I like tell the difference between someone who wants to destroy me and someone who loves me? Can I even trust myself because of what I grew up in? I'm talking emotionally, not physically destroy me, but like it's really strange because you just, then you separate from the person and it's you're like waking up from a coma because you took on all this pain, all this trauma, all these fights, this, it can wreck your life. Toxic relationships, abusive people that you're putting you down, and you're still taking it. You're still accepting them and allowing them to be in your life and saying, oh, they have their problems. She has her problems. She has her stuff. I forgive her. I'm going to love her. I'm going to heal her. And it's the same thing with your family. And at a certain point, I don't know, there's just something so terrifying and painful. You actually feel like you're dying, like you're going to die, like you're going to be alone forever. When you end a relationship and when you actually empower yourself, when you were always the one who was the victim, you were always the one who was on the sidelines, passive, submissive, desperately clinging on to the breadcrumbs, desperately clinging on to the relationship. I'll never live without you, all that stuff. And when you finally empower yourself, that's crazy because you almost surprise yourself. You're like, I didn't know I had that in me. I didn't even know I had that in me to be that mature and respect myself for maybe the first time in my life, to set a boundary, to say, no, I'm not going to take this anymore. I'm worth more than this. I'm not going to allow someone who mistreats me like this in my life. I don't care how much you claim to love me or whatever it's going on. There's just a certain thing of like, I'm not going to tolerate lies. I'm not going to tolerate disrespect. I'm not going to tolerate constantly putting me down, constantly undermining me, whatever. It's just a values thing. It's just like, meet me at that bar, meet me at that place where we respect each other and love each other unconditionally and are totally open and honest with each other, or nothing. And that's crazy because you have to work a really long time to get back that self-respect if you never had it, if you were neglected as a child, if you were in that state of fight or flight all the time. And then it's like the weeks and months go by and there's like the yo-yo in your mind of the relationship. It's like, yeah, we had this amazing love. It was magical. I remember all the good times, but then the bad times. And then I remember the disrespect. And I remember how miserable I was. I remember how drained I was. I remember how I was always having that feeling in my gut that was speaking to me that I was betraying myself. And I was being disrespected, but I'm so used to overriding it all the time. Excuse me. And overriding it all the time, and just, it's really a strange thing because you're in a weird limbo land when you first cut the cords in that way. And you start operating from the opposite of a scarcity mindset, the opposite of a lack mindset. You're like, okay, I'm going to trust that this universe has something for me. I don't know what the future holds. I just know that I can't tolerate this hell anymore. Like, I love this person with all my heart and soul. And I want to heal this person. But just considering the idea of love outside of like some weird way imbalanced heal, I'm gonna heal you, I'm gonna help you, I'm gonna give you charity thing is crazy because it's like you could just love all these people that are broken and they're destroying you, they're disrespecting you, because this is the baseline you knew from childhood. And then you're like, wait, what if there's another way to love where we can just like meet each other and people meet each other as their best selves. They have value systems that align with each other. And it's just crazy because it's not logic. It's not some intellectual equation of being mature and smart as an adult. It's just that little kid still lives in you, in your gut, in your heart. And you can't break those chains until you do, until you confront that part of you that's still like miserable and alone and just is like fighting for survival. So making that escape where you empower yourself is really scary. It's really scary because if you have low self-worth and you didn't have those people to give you that unconditional love as a kid, you don't have, you just, trusting yourself, it's really hard because you're just lonely. And then you learn, it takes so much courage to learn to love yourself, to learn to hold your hand through the darkest times. So it's just like a step-by-step, day-by-day thing. And especially when you're opening your heart continuously and having this pattern of, oh, this person had this whole facade and then I was fooled, and it's not even, you know, I love this person very much. It's not about, I wish the best for everyone, but also, yes, there's anger, yes, there's ego bullshit. There's all that. I definitely have that too. But in the higher way, you know, you have that feeling, getting cheated, getting betrayed, getting lied to, whatever. Like, not cheated on, but just like lies and just even all those things. It's just, it's okay, you know, but you feel like you've been through war and you understand why you went through that with this person. And in a way, it's divine, it's heaven sent. You had to do all this together to catalyze each other, to know what you really want, to know what you won't stand for, to know what it's like to disrespect yourself and betray yourself in the worst way, to then not do it anymore. But it sucks. It sucks. It's really painful, because when you're reaching that place, that like super tender place in your heart, that super, super soft spot that like you never let anyone into, and like you return to that place with someone, like your inner child, you open yourself to each other, you have a safe place to be in a romantic relationship, to foster this love, to grow this love. And then when people mistreat it, and when people, you know, turn it on you, and it starts to become a manipulative game and an ego game and a power game and a control game, that's just, it's brutal, because you're already invested. Your heart is already invested. So you can't just turn it off, because you're already giving yourself your heart fully in love, and you trusted this person. It's not just some mathematical, psychological equation that you talk about with your psychologist and just say, oh, turn this off, turn this on. No, love makes you insane. Love makes you an insane person. Everyone wants love. Everyone has that tender, soft place in them. Everyone has a fear of abandonment. Everyone has a desire to give themselves fully to someone and just trust in like a higher code of ethics that people should abide by. But it all happened for a reason, and it all happens for the reason that you empower yourself. And I had to break the association between, well, basically just, you have to understand that your healing and your best self means that you're gonna have to let people go. Like, with all my heart and soul, I wanted to heal people in my family. I wanted to help them. I wanted to help them experience the things I've experienced and break out of this kind of like cultish mentality in our DNA, in our cells, all having the same mindset of emotional repression and many, many things. I'll talk about that in another video. And then I realized I was carrying that into relationships, where it's like, I'm gonna take someone who has a lot of their traumas and dysfunction, and I'm gonna heal her. I'm gonna fix her. I'm gonna help her in every possible way, because I'm gonna make it work. But that's, you could be Superman, you could be Jesus Christ, you could be know everything in the world, have superpowers, and you still can't save people that don't want to be saved. You can't make people love you that don't want to love. You can't make people confront their traumas that don't want to do that. You can't make people that don't want to do the inner work, that don't want to rise to meet you there. You're at different stages on your journey, whatever. It gets ugly, it gets messy, it gets ego-driven, it gets petty. And then people choose what they choose. You go your separate ways, it happens, and you learn.